These are the original locks to the Charles River. The Charles River is a tidal river. Because the river is dammed up with locks, it now is actually a river basin. The water does not flow through the Charles.
So it stays pretty calm then?
It stays very calm. There's great sailing on the Charles River, rowing, the crew boats. We're coming into the Salt and Pepper Bridge. It's actually called the Longfellow Bridge. But because of the shape of the towers, they look like salt and pepper shakers.
Oh yeah, they do.
So the local yokels call it the Salt and Pepper Bridge.
So this is one of the more famous boats in the country, in any harbor.
The USS Constitution, otherwise known as Old Ironsides. When the British would shoot their cannons at it, and they're big, big cannonballs, they would bounce off the sides, and that's how it got its nickname for Old Ironsides.
Nice.
Yeah. I love Boston Harbor. I mean, I really love it. It's so much fun. Any excuse to get out in the water is a good excuse.
I agree with you, Bobby.
That's one nice thing about Boston Harbor. There's 34 harbor islands out there. They really add sort of a protective layer against the ocean so that the storm waves do not penetrate into the harbor.
You guys have a beautiful, beautiful boat. And then tell us about your staff, because I mean, Adam, not only is he a backup captain here, but he's an amazing chef.
I tell you, that's the one thing, no matter what boat you have, it's the crew that make the boat. And you know, the boat can...
See, look at this. Look what I'm talking about here.
Oh my God.
Now you have a co-captain on board here, of one of four-legged kinds.
Yeah, oh yeah, Junior.
Where's Junior?
Oh my God, Junior! Junior!
We're very fortunate to have our own local expert and park ranger, Jessica, join us here on the boat. You know everything about these islands, I'm told, that we're heading out to.
Yeah, I used to work for the Park Service, and so I led trips out to Boston Light, one of the oldest lighthouses in the country, for about 2 years. And then I just came on with the state about 2 years ago. So I've been working in the Boston Harbor Islands National Recreation Area for 4 years.
So we're on board George's Island. What's significant about this place?
There's so much that's significant about this place, but why it's preserved and part of the national park system is because it was used as a Confederate prisoner of war camp during the Civil War.
I love this place. I love the feeling. I can just like feel the history.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. You know, we have about 10,000 visitors who come here every summer to step back in history, step back in nature, and just experience the islands.
So when you dock here, you have no idea how expansive this place is. This is huge.
Yeah, that's why it took 17 years to build. The best part about the fort, though, is that the kids that come out here, they get to explore the dark tunnels, walk through its archways, and just explore the whole fort. So we're actually here out on Spectacle Island, one of the newest islands in our park, and I'm going to take you up to the North Drumlin for some of the best views of Boston Harbor. The history of the island, the city of Boston added about 37 acres worth of garbage when this was its dumping site.
So this used to be the big dump and it used to smell really bad.
Exactly. This island in particular kind of symbolizes hope for me, that there's a chance that we could take something that was once an eyesore and transform it into something that's beautiful that people can enjoy.
We are actually at the oldest working restaurant in America. It doesn't get any more historical than that, right, Joe?
I hope not.
Now, you're one of 3 families that have owned this restaurant throughout time. How is that possible?
Alrighty. Well, you had to have a starter, so you had 2 individuals, Atwood and Bacon, who were, I would call, entrepreneurs of their own time back in 1826. And they were in the oyster business. So it was very typical. A restaurant came about being because people had a product and they wanted to get it to the consumer.
The picture there with all these famous people all coming to this place. So why do people come here? What's the draw? Besides the history?
Yeah. Well, we want to believe that you can always get people to come or spread the word because people have come and enjoyed themselves. For reasons such as the clam chowder you will be enjoying, the oysters, which is our middle name. Certainly lobster is such a trademark of New England, and it is really the best.
Okay, Anton, Joe said we have to come to the oyster bar. It says you're like world famous.
Put the knife right over here, one little crack, and then he breaks, you turn them around, that's the serve.
So you don't sound like you're from these parts.
No, I'm
Anton.
originally actually from Switzerland,
Yeah?
from the German part, the better part. I have
I hear the German.
I have a little accent, and actually that's the reason people like it. Today we have two kind of voices. We have some cartoons, they are from the Cape Cod from Massachusetts, and those are actually, they are Blue Points from Connecticut.
Oh, that's a lot of horseradish.
Good for you. Wow.
It's gonna put hair on my chest, right?
You just ate the same thing about 5 minutes ago.
You had no hair on your face?
No, it's clean shaven when we got here.
Are you here for business or are you here for pleasure?
We work here, yeah.
Oh, you work here. Good.
Bricklayers.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So what should people see when they come to Boston?
A lot of history.
Well, a lot of history.
Well, here we are in the oldest restaurant in America.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah,
it's exciting. I text my wife, and tell her where I'm at, and what building I'm at, It's all right. It's cool.
The oysters were amazing here, but the lobsters are even more amazing. They're actually trained. Let's watch this.
Here we hold a fork and a napkin.
And they'll take my money. That's awesome. There's over 50 different tours available here in Boston. We're checking it out with Urban Event Tours by Bike.
I'm from Chicago. I will attempt a Boston accent occasionally on this tour. I've been riding the streets of Boston for 30 years. I'd be riding my bike this morning anyway, so I'm glad to have somebody along on the ride with me.
Please ring your bells, and we're going to head off in this direction.
Here we are, staring at the garden, the beautiful Boston Garden. I want you guys to take a look over here at the Leonard P. Zachem Bunker Hill Memorial Bridge. From now on, when you're watching the Sports Channel, the Weather Channel, politics, and you see this bridge behind some talking head, you're going to know that's Boston. This is our Golden Gate Bridge. Many years ago, in the 50s, the 60s, and 70s, an elevated highway called the Central Artery cut right through the heart of Boston, breaking off Boston from its history to the sea. The whole idea of the Big Dig, which begins right here, was to create this beautiful park, reconnect Boston with the sea. And at $1 billion a mile, we think they did a great job. So thank you all for paying your taxes. So you guys have just climbed Beacon Hill. Congratulations, the biggest hill climb of the day. We're in beautiful Lewisburg Square. Right over here at 88 Mount Vernon, Robert Frost lived for many years. Lots of the inspiration for his poetry came from his walks here on Beacon Hill. Last house on the right with the American flag, our now senior Senator John Kerry and his wife Teresa Heinz Kerry. We just want you guys to get a sense of, really, this is one of those spots, the beauty of Boston. We're staring over here at the Back Bay. Again, all landfill. The Charles River was about a mile wide here. All of this building that we'll be in the Back Bay is filled in over the course of about 30 years. So 1912, oldest ballpark in America. And the Red Sox, this is it. This is the heart of Red Sox Nation. This is the temple.
What a great way to see Boston with Urban Adventures. What a cool name.
Yep.
This is your company, right, Andrew?
Yep. I don't want anybody to come to Boston and leave not feeling like they saw everything that they wanted to see. So I think it's the best way to cover the most ground and get a little exercise while you're at it.
There are many ways to see historical Boston. We're joining a tour of the Freedom Trail, a walk through pre-revolutionary history with a witness. Our witness, Rachel Revere.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to welcome all of you to Boston. We're going to see a lot of the sites along the way that pertain to the time in our history in America called the Revolutionary War. This is the third oldest burial ground in Boston. And I bring you here because there are more people buried here that have to do with the revolutionary effort than any other burial ground in New England. This is John Hancock. By the way, this carving of the man's face on this marker actually is what he looked like. When he signed the Declaration of Independence, his largest signature and the very first, because he was president of the Second Continental Congress, and when he signed, he was openly defying the king. He was saying, I know you know who I am, and I stand against you. Catch me if you can. And thanks to my husband, Paul, he never was caught. All right, this is the marker, the present day marker of Mr. Paul Revere. I want to point this out. Look at this. This says Revere's tomb. It's a slate marker. Now, you can see the ordinary markers here are made of slate. If you had a lot of money, then you could afford a table tomb like this. Now, this marker is much more expensive. It's made of white marble. It was put here in the 1860s. They dressed up Revere's grave. He was not a John Hancock or a George Washington by any means. He would be shocked to find out how famous he is today. And this is because Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote a poem about him in 1860. He wrote a poem called The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. And to this day, if you're from America, you usually have to read this poem somewhere along the line. This is the old State House. The old State House was built in 1713. We have the lion, we have the unicorn. Those two carvings are images signifying the United Kingdom, united in 1707. This is the area where the Boston Massacre took place. It started with one man, one redcoat, guarding a customs house. The Patriots start threatening them, saying, fire, fire on us if you dare. That's how it all started, and the first musket discharged, and then the following soldiers also just in the confusion fired en masse. But, and unfortunately, 5 men were killed. So that's what actually happened. It was a chaotic, confused scene. The reason I wanted to bring you over here is I want you to look up at the weather vane of this building. You see a grasshopper, a gilded grasshopper there. If you wanted to find out if you were talking to a loyalist spy, someone claiming to be a man from Boston but who was not, all you had to do was ask him what creature flies above Faneuil Hall. And if you do not answer a grasshopper, well then you shoot him. That's what you do, and that's how we took care of all that. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rachel Revere. I want to thank you all so much for joining me on this tour. You're a delight to talk to. I want to wish you a safe and happy journey to wherever you are traveling.